Hey y'all. Hey y'all. Don't mind the fact that I'm laying down. I am hurting under my shoulder blades, up in my ribs, and on this side it's ugh. Might have a rib out of place. I don't know. I don't feel like sitting up. Um, but I would like to talk a little about the whole drama with Natalie Wynn, also known as Contrapoints, a relatively famous YouTuber, trans woman, activist, etc. And yeah, so first of all, I don't watch Natalie or Contra, whatever you want to call her, very often. You know, I just don't have a reason to. But I do know of her. I am familiar with her. And you, it's hard pressed. You're hard pressed to be in the trans community and not be familiar with ContraPoint. She's very involved, and this isn't me defending her because I like her or anything, and it isn't me defending her because we're on the same side of the political spectrum, because we're not, or we kind of are, but she is not a trans medicalist or a true scum in that sense, that politically. And so this isn't me defending somebody who's transmed because I'm transmed. She isn't. She doesn't believe in the same things about the trans community I do, and that's okay. I have no issues with that. This is just a mess. This whole drama is just a mess, but Twitter has had this just, meltdown. So Natalie responded to a thread about, you know, extra woke spaces and how they differ in their treatment of trans people. And essentially what she said is, and you can find these tweets easily, they're, she has, yeah, you'll be able to find them if you just Google it. But, what she said was essentially that she is more likely to be misgendered by they them pronouns in a woke space than in a space where nobody would think she was trans. And she was venting a frustration that a lot of binary trans people have, and that's giving up the luxury of complete passing for the sake of people who don't entirely pass, or are non-binary, or identify as non-binary, or whatever you want to say it. So this is a big complaint within, not a complaint entirely, a big frustration for binary trans people, in that, if I go into a space, any space, I generally expect to be read as male, and in most spaces I am, because I'm very male passing, and I have been for a long time. But I have noticed that extra woke people or extra woke spaces ask me my pronouns more, or default to they them more. And this is what Natalie was saying. And it is a frustration because it feels, if you feel dysphoria, it feels like you're not passing when people ask that. And for most binary trans people, the goal is to pass, because that's how dysphoria generally works. So it feels delegitimizing, and it makes you insecure, right? And that is what Natalie was saying. And what she said was that she's happy to give up this luxury for people who are more vulnerable, for people who don't quite pass, for people who are non-binary, but it is a frustration she has. And she didn't attack anybody, she didn't call in anybody to action, she didn't say, stop asking pronouns, stop, you know, assume everybody's gender, and she didn't throw non-binary people under the bus at all. She brought up the fact that sometimes what's best for two marginalized peoples doesn't always align. Sometimes the best interests don't always align. And that is a thing, Something that is good for one minority may not be good for another minority. And it was a mess. Poor Natalie. The tag Contra is canceled or something is Contrapoints Canceled or whatever got real big, and they were attacking her and bullying her, and I heard somebody might have even leaked her address, and she left Twitter. She's yet to address it on YouTube, but I think this is super unfortunate because Natalie has a history of being attacked for things she didn't say, things she doesn't believe, really, things you can tell, she doesn't believe, she's been called non-binary, phobic, and that for videos in the past, and she's been called true scum when she's made videos that are very explicitly stating that she doesn't quite align with us, and it really annoys me. She is a prominent figure within the trans community. She does a lot. She does a whole lot, but because she vents personal frustrations, or because she makes content about her experiences and not every single person's experiences, she'll get attacked. And that is, it's hypervigilance. People, it's beyond hypervigilance. Like, call-out culture like this is toxic. I can't imagine what Natalie is feeling. She is being betrayed by her own community for things she doesn't believe, for things she doesn't say. And I have experience with that, I do. Actually, I did have an experience with that in high school where I was assaulted for things I didn't say, for things I didn't do. And that was a whole mess, including an abusive relationship, so it wasn't entirely the same thing, but I was unwelcome in trans spaces because somebody said that I believed things that I didn't believe. Specifically, they said that I threatened to break up with my partner if they transitioned to male, which is not how it went, but I did say that I would no longer be attracted to them if they went on testosterone, because I like female bodies, female-presenting people, femininity. I don't like male sex characteristics. And so I have this experience of that hypervigilance, that bullying, and honestly, that's all it is. It's just an excuse to bully people. And it's so frustrating. If your biggest problem is something Contrapoints said on Twitter, you've got it good, honey. But no, I know that's not everybody's biggest problem, but she did nothing wrong. She literally did nothing. Free my girl. No, but they take these little things as attacks when there is huge problems, facing binary people, non-binary people, whatever. There is huge transphobia going on. the federal government is being actively LGBT phobic. There is actual violence against trans women. Actual violence. Trans women live in fear. You know, it's not gonna. You're not gonna. I know if you're non-binary that it's got to suck to have to announce your pronouns everywhere you go, or never pass because there's really no way to pass. But that doesn't equate to the violence of trans women. It is not a violence against trans women. You know, trans women have actual problems too, and every time I see these things, it's like, oh, she's so much more privileged than non-binary people. She hates non-binary people, and all of this stuff. Like, Nellie Wynn is an out trans woman, which means she could be recognized and attacked. You know, she is a member of a minority that is facing systemic violence. But she still is out there doing activism, telling people her experiences, telling people all of these things that she is, and yeah, she's somewhat controversial, and I don't even see why, because she's so unproblematic. She's as unproblematic as Sam Collins, and he gets attacked all the time. I've never heard Sam Collins say anything transphobic. I've never heard him delegitimize or invalidate anyone. You know, he works his hardest to understand everyone, and so does Natalie. So anyway, I guess the point of this is number one, stop fucking bullying people. Number two, just chill, and if you're gonna bully somebody, rethink it. And if you're gonna take offense at something, reread it, and reread it, and reread it. And think about it in a scope that isn't yours. You know, some things come off one way. And so I doubt some of the people attacking her even really read the entire thread, you know? They just heard Natalie's non-binary phobic, Natalie hates non-binary people, and just went with it. So do your research, and fucking chill. And if you are on Natalie's side in this, which I'm very much taking a side, I'm on Natalie's side, I encourage you to be very nice to everyone, but also to Natalie. Tell her, you know, in her comments that she is loved and supported, that everything, you know, she's loved and supported, and that you don't think that what she did was worthy of being bullied off of Twitter and possibly being doxxed. I'm not entirely sure if that's true, but if it is, it's fucked. And yeah. Anyway, peace.